My name's Owen and welcome in today to my Week 1 College Football Pick'em. Each week of the college football regular season, I will be picking 10 games as part of ESPN's College Football Pick'em Challenge. So let's get into it with the first game of Week 1, and that is Boston College hosting Rutgers. This one is a noon kick on Saturday, and that can be seen on ACC Network. Boston College leads this series all time with a 20-6 record, and they have 11 straight wins versus the Scarlet Knights. Although Rutgers has been known as kind of the floor mat of the Big Ten, they are improving since Greg Schiano has returned as head coach, going from 3-6 in 2020 to a 5-8 record last year, and there is expected improvement in the coming years for Rutgers. However, they might still be a year or two out from bowl eligibility. Boston College is improving as well. They do have a new offensive coordinator, and they have a very talented quarterback in Phil Jurkovec, who has NFL capabilities and could potentially lead Boston College to be a surprise team in the ACC. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Boston College has a 70.3% chance to win this game, and I will also side with the FPI, and I will pick Boston College to win it. The second game on the docket is number 23 Cincinnati versus number 19 Arkansas. This one is a 3:30 p.m. kick and can be seen on ESPN. This is the first meeting between these two schools, but Cincinnati is just 1-4 against current SEC schools since 2011. Now, talking about Cincinnati, they are coming off their best season in school history, going 13-1, and they had a trip to the college football playoff. From that roster last season, they do lose some notable pieces, including their all-time winningest quarterback, their leading rusher, top receiver, two of their top linebackers, the top cornerback combo in the country, as well as a stud at safety. However, they do return 8 starters on the offensive side of the ball, including a talented receiver transfer from Hawaii. Arkansas is also coming off a much improved season. They went 9-4 in 2021 with their first New Year's Day Bowl win since 2000. They only do have 4 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball, but on offense they bring back quarterback KJ Jefferson, who was both their leading rusher and leading passer in 2021, and with KJ Jefferson under center, the Razorbacks will be poised to have another good season this year. ESPN's FPI likes Arkansas in this one, 59.6% chance to get the victory, and I'm going to agree with the FPI, and I will take Arkansas to get the win. The next matchup on the docket is number 11 versus number 3 Georgia. This one is also a 3:30 p.m. kick and can be seen on ABC. Now, this game is a neutral site game, and it will be played in Atlanta. Their only prior meeting between these two schools was in 1977, where Georgia won 27-16. Oregon has a new head coach in town, and his name is Dan Lanning. And if you're a Bulldogs fan, that name is familiar to you because he was the Bulldogs' defensive coordinator last year for their national title team. This will be a tough challenge for the Ducks, as Georgia has a very talented roster on both sides of the ball, but Oregon has no shy amount of talent either. They have returned 15 starters from last year's team, and they have a transfer quarterback, Bo Nix, who is poised to have a great senior season. Georgia, as I mentioned, is coming off their first national title in 41 years. They did, however, lose 9 defensive players to the NFL, but they are still very talented with years of great recruiting class, and now they are coming off the confidence of being a defending national champ. Georgia should be in a great position to have another very successful year and potentially make another playoff appearance. In this one, the ESPN's FPI loves Georgia with a 91.5% chance to win, and I will have to agree with that, and I will pick the Georgia Bulldogs to take down the Oregon Ducks in Atlanta. The next game on the docket is Arizona versus San Diego State. This one is the 3:30 game on CBS on Saturday. Arizona leads this series all time with a 10-6 record overall. But Arizona has struggled as of late. They are coming off a 1-11 season in 2021, and they have lost 4 straight season openers. They do, however, have one of the best recruiting classes in program history, and they have some potential starters that they added through the transfer portal. San Diego State is coming off a very successful season, winning 12 games last year. They do suffer some key losses from last year's roster with only 5 returning starters on the offensive side of the ball. They will play in a brand new stadium this season, which is very exciting for the Aztecs and their fans. Since 2016, the Aztecs are just 7-2 versus Pac-12 foes, and I expect them to continue that winning record versus Arizona here. ESPN's FPI likes San Diego State, 67.1% chance to get the victory, and I will also take the Aztecs to get the win against the Wildcats in this one. The next game on the docket is number 24 Houston versus the University of Texas San Antonio. This one is a 3:30 kick on CBS Sports Network. This is their third meeting all time, with the series being tied at 1 game apiece. Houston is coming off a very successful 2021 campaign with just their third ever 12-win season and a number 17 AP poll finish. However, due to some drop-off in the roster, it will be difficult for Houston to match that 12-win total from a year ago, but they should remain in contention to win that AAC title. Taking a look now at the University of Texas San Antonio, they are also coming off a 12-win season. Jeff Traylor, who took over as head coach in 2020, has done a great job turning this program around, and the Roadrunners do return 13 starters from their roster from last season, and they have a talented roster overall with a very energetic fan base. ESPN's FPI likes Houston in this one with a 62.4% chance to win, but I'm going to go with the Roadrunners. I will pick UTSA to win this game outright. The next game, number 25 BYU versus USF. This one is a 4 p.m. kickoff on ESPNU. This series is tied 1-1, and the visitor is 0-2 all-time in this series. BYU is coming off a 10-3 season, and the Cougars return a very experienced group, returning their entire starters on defense. The whole 11 on defense are back with 8 returning starters on offense. They should be in a great position to replicate the success they had from last season. USF is coming off a very disappointing season, going 2-10, and they are in the midst of a rebuild under head coach Jeff Scott. It is believed by many that this is Scott's best team since he took over in 2020. They have 10 returning starters on the offensive side of the ball with a lot of talent to build on. So there is a lot of experience on both sides for both teams here in this game. According to ESPN's FPI, it likes BYU in this one with a 64.8% chance to get the win, and I will also pick the Cougars to take down the Bulls on Saturday on ESPNU. The next game is one of the biggest games of the week, and it's number 7 Utah versus Florida. This one is a 7 p.m. game on ESPN, and it will be in the Swamp in Gainesville. The only prior meeting between these two schools was in 1977, where Utah lost 38-29, and that was also in Gainesville. Utah returns 14 starters from their Pac-12 championship team, along with some key additions through the transfer portal. The Utes are the most talented team in the Pac-12 with the best offensive and defensive lines in their conference. They also return quarterback Cameron Rising, who was first-team All-Conference last season and is regarded by some to be a Heisman dark horse. In addition, Utah has one of the best coaching staffs in the country and the best in their conference, and with one of the longest tenured coaches in the sport. On the flip side, Florida has won 32 straight home openers, and they look to keep that streak alive against the Utes. Florida did have a disappointing season last year, finishing just 2-6 in SEC play, but they are expected to be one of the most improved teams in the country. On the other side, Utah has one of the most experienced coaches in the country. Florida has first-year head coach Billy Napier, who possesses 13 returning starters with talent that will play to his advantage in his scheme. Their schedule, however, does get off to a tough start against Utah. This game will be one of the best of Week 1, and I will be very intrigued to see who comes out on top in this one. ESPN's Football Power Index had a tough time making who it favored in this one. It slightly leaned Florida with a 52.1% chance to win, but I am going to go against the FPI, and I will take the Utah Utes to get a win in Gainesville. And the big game of the week, it's ABC Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. It's number 5 Notre Dame heading to Columbus, Ohio to take on the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. Notre Dame has lost 4 straight to the Buckeyes since 1995, but the Irish have won 5 straight road openers. First-year head coach Marcus Freeman will have to go against his alma mater in a primetime showdown that will be a mighty test for the Fighting Irish. While Notre Dame has a talented roster, it remains an uphill climb. Ohio State is coming off an 11-2 season with a Rose Bowl victory. However, head coach Ryan Day has claimed that that season was not good enough and was not up to standards of the Buckeyes. They do return one of the best quarterbacks in the country in C.J. Stroud, who is a very highly touted quarterback talent and is expected to be a high-round draft pick. The Buckeyes are a much more experienced team this year with 14 returning starters and a boatload of offensive talent in Travion Henderson and Jackson Smith-Njigba, along with some other receivers who have yet to make a big name for themselves. On the defensive side of the ball, the Buckeyes added defensive coordinator Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State. Last year, Oklahoma State's defense was tied for the nation in sacks. So that is expected that the Buckeyes should have much-needed improvements on that side of the ball. ESPN's Football Power Index likes Ohio State in this one with an 83.5% chance to win, and I will have to agree with them there. I will take Ohio State to take down Notre Dame in a big-time way on Saturday night. Also on Saturday night on ESPNU at 7:30 p.m., it is Memphis taking on Mississippi State. Last season, Memphis ended a 12-game losing streak against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Since 2020, Memphis, however, is just 2-7 on the road. Last year, they were 6-6, and they became bowl eligible for their 8th straight season. With 13 returning starters, there is expected improvement for the Tigers. There is also several Power 5 transfers who are expected to see more playing time than what they got last year. Mississippi State has won 6 of their last 7 against Memphis, and the Bulldogs have the most experienced team in the SEC with a very talented quarterback in Will Rogers, along with 16 other returning starters. This is Mike Leach's best team in his tenure with the Bulldogs, and they are poised to improve upon their 7-win record from a year ago. As we know as college football fans, Mike Leach is known for his air raid style of offense, and with Will Rogers in that system, Will Rogers is very likely to excel and put up even better numbers than he did a year ago. The Football Power Index likes Mississippi State in this one with a 77.3% chance to win the game, and I will have to agree with them there as I will take Mississippi State to get the win over Memphis. And the last game of the night is Boise State versus Oregon State in a West Coast showdown. This one kicks off at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN, so a little football after dark action for you. Boise State has won 3 out of the last 4 versus the Beavers. And the Broncos, that is, went 7-5 last year under first-year head coach Andy Avalos. This year, the Broncos are expected to be much improved, especially at the line of scrimmage, where they will have the top defensive line in their conference. Boise State is also a very experienced team on the defensive side of the ball, as they return 20 of their top 22 tacklers from a year ago. Their starting quarterback is also back, as well as their leading rusher from last season. Oregon State's last win versus Boise State came in 2013. The Beavers, however, are 13-4 in home openers since 2005 and are coming off their first bowl-eligible season since 2013. The Beavers have continued to improve under head coach Jonathan Smith, who is going into his 5th season with the Beavers. Oregon State has 9 returning starters on defense, and they possess a strong offensive line who is expected to be in contention for the Joe Moore Award, which goes to the top offensive line in the country. ESPN's Football Power Index gives Boise State a 50.2% chance to win this one. It was the thinnest of margins between the two teams for the Football Power Index, and I had a very tough time deciding who was going to win this game, but I ultimately ended up going with Oregon State. I think them playing at home, and I think that Jonathan Smith has been there. This is his 5th season, so he's been there a little longer than Andy Avalos has. He's got a little bit more ingrained into the program, so I think Oregon State is in a better position to get the win for this one, but this will definitely be a great late-night game for all college football fans out there to watch if you'll still be up for it. So that is the end of my Week 1 picks. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into watching. I would also like to thank ESPN for providing me with some of this information, but most importantly, I would like to thank Phil Steele for his 2022 college football preview. I have been buying these magazines for several years, and a lot of this information that was used in this video came from the Phil Steele magazine. So if you are a college football fan, you should seriously consider buying one. If not for this season, definitely for future seasons. It is the book experts cannot do without. Thank you everybody for watching, and enjoy the week 1 action.